श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रं दीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवं यतीन्द्रप्रवणं वन्दे रम्यजामातरं मुनिं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नादयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमुच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मा व्यामोहतस्तरितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य न कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रिकुलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरस्य महदाह्वयपट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिणेन परकालितेन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् ॐ अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतवेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवो विनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। श्रीसुखब्रह्मणे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। हरिः ओम्। Excellent. So, just give you a little bit of in context today. We are not going to discuss Bhagavatam series because of many reasons. I was also very busy this week because of the new workload. I couldn't catch up with the material that we had discussed. So what I decided was today we are going to discuss about Bhagavatam only, or different pastimes of the Lord, and we will reconcile one of the books called Prapannamritam. Sorry, Prapannamritam. I'll tell you at the end of the class why it is called like that and who wrote that book. We'll be reading that. We'll be doing that one. So it's not going to be like anything like philosophy or anything like that. We're just going to tell about 10 to 15 stories today. So people can lay back and happily listen to the stories. Different pastimes of the Lord from various scriptures. So to start with, first of all, we have to understand the concept of. It's similar to Bhagavatam only. What we are discussing is going to discuss is Bhagavatam only, but not in the fashion of what we are doing, like scan to 3 like that, but still Bhagavatam. So there are two important factors. So see, for example, we are all mokshas. Moksha in the sense who are aspiring for moksha. We all know that. So we got a understanding, a base understanding that we as the people who took the human form of birth, or as a soul which got the human form of life, it's very important that we have to catch up to our spiritual life, discarding our material enjoyments. We had enough of these material enjoyments. How many lives have we been in the material life? Uncountless. So many lives we have taken, and yet we are still in the material world. By the grace of the Lord, or acharyas or devotees, we somehow got the attachment of God now. We are in this life, understand? Not now, in this life. So we are trying towards that. See, the temperature is very good outside. You can happily spend the day outside, sitting under the sun, drinking some juice, spending some time with the family, or watching TV. You know that's comfort. This is spiritual life. That's material life. We have understanding that life is, we had enough of that life. We have enjoyed for so many years. Even in this lifetime, we have enjoyed so many years. So we had enough of it, and then we are moving to spiritual life. Hare Krishna Raj.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
We are talking about the new concept today. It's not from. It's still Bhagavatam, but not in the third canto of Bhagavatam, but various different stories.
Okay.
Just stories, and then I'll reconcile at the end of it why I told these stories.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So I was just talking about the importance of spending time in the association of devotees and being God conscious. So we all have time. We all have in a sense we can happily spend our time sunny outside. People are going to beach. People are going to the lake for water sports. We can do that. Can we not? We can do. But still, we know that we are learning Bhagavatam, or we are understanding Bhagavatam, God consciousness. Human form of life is very difficult. I'll touch the point because we came to the point of human form of life. I'll touch this point. A soul, if it want to take a birth as human life, I'll tell you the different phases it goes through. We will see this one in very great detail in coming cantos. But for now, I'll tell you a very high view, like a bird view of what's happening and what is it called. First, the soul has to travel with his basic elements like mind, ego, and the five senses and five grandes. So that is like a subtle body of the soul, along with karma and all. So it travels from the uh, uh, planet of Surya, Dhyuloka, we say Dhyuloka. That's from there it starts. Dhyu means sun, Dhyuloka, which is the planet of sun. From there it travels, and then it enters into into this earthly atmosphere. And how does it enter? It enters using the help of Vayu into the earthly atmosphere. I mean, there's some more technical to say, but we'll discuss on that. But just I'm telling you like a bird view. And now it forms like a bubble drop, like a drop of water. The soul enters in the drop of water, and the drop of water fall onto the ground, onto the earth. What will happen then? Earth will produce fruit, vegetables, whatever, leaves. So the soul enters into that fruit or vegetable. Now that fruit, first of all, it has to sustain all the travel. Sometimes it might not even travel, it will just die there only. So it comes, then it forms a fruit. Okay, now we're talking about the chances of the soul getting into the human form of life. If that soul stays in the fruit, if it's eaten by a squirrel, it goes to squirrel. If it was eaten by an insect, it goes into insect. Different possibilities that we're talking. Now this soul enters into the fruit or vegetable, whatever. Now that fruit or vegetable should be eaten by a person, by a man, not into a woman. Now that man has to be in a state where he can reproduce. If he's in the state of 12 year, 11 year, there is no point. Even if he eats, it just comes out. Now he should be in the age limit as well. Now, what are the chances of that? If it is eaten by somebody who are like a 50, 60 years or 70-year-old, that is gone. Now it enters into that that human age or the life where it has got multiple the age range is, let's say, for 24, 25 to 35, 36, 38, whatever, 40 years away. The 15-year age older you have to enter. In that, it has to travel and go and mix up with to form a zygote, the egg. We know the struggle, how much the soul it forms a sperm, and the sperm is so difficult to go and reach. Only one egg or one sperm enters into that. So we know the difficulty of it. Now the soul has to travel to that in that fashion. It has to struggle to enter into that. Now that zygote has to evolve. That's when it is like a guaranteed that okay, now it's getting a human form of life. Now, what are the chances that we are talking here, and how difficult? That is the reason people keep saying getting a human form of life is very, very difficult. Your karma has to act, and it has to be the right time. Now imagine if the water drop go and fall in the continent of like in this place where there is no culture, where there is no spirituality, the cohesive nature of the society, where spirituality is very less. India, it's easy to become spiritual because the society is like that. It's cohesive at the moment. At the minute we're talking about it, maybe after 20, 30, 40, 100 years of time, everything will be like westernized or maybe westernized, and it might not be there. It might not be the case. But we're talking about the current situations. Current situations, we know what we are seeing here in UK and US and all the other places. The society is not cohesive to promote the spirituality, whereas in India it's very cohesive. It's easy to understand what is karma. It is easy to understand what's next life or this life, or you have karma, then you have to be born as that, because the way that we say let him go as per his karma, the way society speaks, spirituality is embedded into that. The way we put tilak, why we put tilak, we talk about so many other factors. So it is all in the society. So now imagine this, the soul be born to somebody else which is not spiritual, into spiritual path. What does it mean? His body or his life is wasted, because he'll be trying to be a different format of altogether, not spirituality, completely material. So he'll be trying to be more luxury, more materialistic, and the idea of life is different. So the chances of them getting back into spiritual life is very less. So we have see how much difficult it is to get a human form of life and then become a spiritual person. If they were born to somebody who is a drug addict family, and imagine the childhood, what's going to be like? Abusive childhood, complete abuse. So it's all so many combinations, permutations happens. So the reason I'm saying is it is very difficult to get a human form of life. Besides that, it is very difficult to attain the spiritual path, to be in the spiritual path, and it is even more difficult, even though you're in your spiritual path, to have the taste to listen to the stories of the Lord. So anyway, so we are there. Now there are two qualities that a soul or a mumukshu, which I said, mumukshu is a person who aspires for moksha. So the mumukshu should have. What are those two qualities? Akinchatvam, akinchanatvam we say. Akinchanatvam means the what do you say, the incapability of the person, of the soul, to perform any kind of dharma or gnana yoga, bhakti yoga. So what does it do? What does it mean? It goes to the Lord and says, my dear Lord, I am very much incapable of performing any kind of duties. I don't have any much big understanding of what we are talking about. So I am surrendering to you completely. Now you tell me. This is exactly what Krishna also said. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja. Aham tva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. What does it say? He said, don't worry about any other practices. Don't worry about any kind of dharma that you have to follow. Just to surrender to me. And I will take care of you. Ma suchaha, don't worry. That's what he said in the final conclusion, which we say Charama Sloka. Charama Sloka is something like the last sloka where it benefits the humanity. So like that, every avatara says that. The only thing Krishna is more glorified because he said that in the Bhagavatam, sorry, in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter. So that's what he said. Don't worry about anything else. Just surrender to me. That's called Akinchanvatvam. And the second one, the two qualities. The second quality is called Ananya Gatitvam. Ananya Gatitvam means the soul says, there is nobody else to surrender, my dear Lord. It is just unto you. I will not surrender to anybody else. Only to you. I will not take the help of anybody. So the first quality is show your incapability, because we are really incapable of doing things. Without the help of anything else, we cannot do anything. So try to understand that we are incapable and submit ourselves to the Lord as Saranagati. Second thing is only to the Lord. Do Saranagati only to the Lord. If you see the sloka, in Krishna says the same thing. Mam ekam saranam vraja. See, the word that is important is ekam. Mam ekam. Mam ekam means unto me only. He didn't say unto me. Surrender unto me. He didn't say surrender unto me. He said surrender unto me only, exclusively to me, and nobody else. Tomorrow I will say, today I will surrender to Krishna, tomorrow I will surrender to Shiva, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow I will surrender to Brahma, after that I will surrender to Kali, after that I will surrender to Sai Baba, after that somebody else. No, not like that. He says, Mam ekam saranam vraja. Only to me, unto me alone, then I will take care of you. Ma suchaha. Now, does that mean God doesn't love you? Does that mean that God is putting certain kind of qualifications for you to become surrender to Him? Or is he saying only if you qualify these things, I'll protect you? God will always protect us. There is no doubt about it. God will always protect us. But there are three instances. And remember this. There are three instances. Oh, sorry, where are they? Yeah, there are three instances where God will stop protecting us. What does that mean? When I say three instances, what can be those three instances? Let's have a look at it. I mean, it's not that it's to get afraid of it, but let's have a look at it. First instance, when we think that we can protect ourselves. If we think that we can protect ourselves, God will say, okay, I'm backing off. You do your best. He will let us do it. That's the first one. So whenever we think that we can protect ourselves, then we are not in the protection zone of God. He will let you to leave. Let you to do whatever you want to do as per your karma. Second instance, if we think we need to attain some prerequisite quality so that God will protect us. Say something like saying that to get this job, I have to do engineering. To get that job, I have to qualify 10th class. So what does that mean? If you qualify, if you finish or pass your 10th class, What does it mean? Then you think that you are qualified to get that job. Whether you get the job or not is a different story. But it's a kind of qualification. You think that I am qualified to get that job. That is second one. So what's the second one? If we think that or we need to attain certain prerequisite quality, only then Perumal will protect us. That's second one. And the third one is when we look at the other sources of protection. You see, when we look out for other sources of protection, that's when God will back off. He will say, okay, you try whatever means you wanted to. Okay, these three things. First one, if we think we can do it by ourselves. Second one, we think that we need to attain certain kind of qualification to be in the protection zone of the Lord. The second one. Third one is when we say, okay, I'll go for other sources of protection, not just with God. So these are the three things when we fall out of protection zone. Okay. Now what we are going to discuss is the third one. When we say we will look out for the other sources of protection. Right? So let's start with basic human life. Okay. Even though I don't make a family, I don't want a family, I don't build up a family, but you are born into a family. Isn't it? So you'll have a mother, you'll have a father, you'll have some relatives, brother, sister, grandfather, grandparents, everybody. So you have the relations. So if you have a family, when you become old, or when in the sense like when you are married, then when you have family, you have a wife, kids, you become a father, then it's more and more responsibilities, more and more relations, right? Now think for a second. I'll stop here. Think for a second, at least for five. If you have a problem, right? If you have a problem, could be economic, could be emotional, could be anything. You can think of anything. Just a problem, depression, whatever. If you have a problem, whom do you think that you will think about to protect you, to help you? When I say protect you, not that they put you in a cage and guard with a knife and sword in front of you, not like that. Just to take care of the burden that you are carrying, to relieve you of the burden. Let's say you're having difficulty, right? So whom do you think in your mind that comes to you? I will not ask you whom, but just telling you, whom do you think in your mind that you'll first pray to, or you'll first think about, not praying to, first think about. Oh, okay, I can seek his or her help. I can go and speak to him to reduce my burden, or something like that. In that mode. So think about it. I'll pause for 2-3 seconds. Then we'll discuss on that. So you have many relations. You have family. You have brothers, sisters, and all, daddy, mummy, whatever. Who will be the person that you think that you can get into contact with if you have a problem or difficulty? So you might have thought about it, like in the sense like you might have thought I could speak to him, or I could speak to my father, I could speak to my mother, like that, isn't it? Now from now I'll talk about stories. Let's see the stories. Okay, different. So it's the phase one. Stop here. We'll stop here. Now we'll talk about the different stories from these different scriptures. Okay. So let's first, because Ramayana happened so far many times ago. Let's talk about Ramayana first. In case of Ramayana, if you see the pastimes of Rama coming into the forest and then meeting Sugriva. So Sugriva had a problem. Sugriva said, I have a problem. So what is your problem? Vali is my problem. Okay. So who is Vali? Vali is my brother. So what is the problem? He has taken the kingdom along with my wife. So what can be done? Let's go and kill him. So the plan was set out. Rama came, put two garlands, and identified that it is Sugriva is him, Vali is the other Vanara. So took an arrow, killed Vali. Right. So that is one of the pastimes. So, and then what did Rama do? He made Sugriva as the king of Kishkinda, isn't it? So he had a problem. The problem is Vali. Vali is taken off, and then he was crowned as the king of the Kishkinda. That is pastime number one. Let's talk about pastime number two. Okay. Vibhishana episode in same Ramayana. From Lanka, Vibhishana flew all the way. Just the day before yesterday or the other day, we talked about it, where Vibhishana told to Ravana, my dear brother, it is very hard to get people to talk the reality. People around you are just boasting, just giving you some unnecessary feedback, which is not good for you. I am telling you the truth. It is very hard to find those kind of persons. I'm telling you the truth. But Ravana didn't like it. Everybody is just satisfying his ego, whereas Vibhishana is telling the truth to give Sita back. In this case, he didn't listen. So what did happen? Vibhishana was expelled from the kingdom. So where did Vibhishana come? Vibhishana has a difficulty now. What is the difficulty? He's expelled from the kingdom. So he came to whom? He came to Rama, and he said, Rama, I'm doing Saranagati to you, completely surrendering unto you. There is nobody else where I can go. You are the only one that can help me. So what did Rama do? I said, Rama said, Sakrudeva Prapannaya Chavasmi Chachade. So that's a sloka. So that's the Charam sloka of Rama. He says, whoever comes to me, even though it's my enemy, whoever comes to me and surrender to me and say, I seek your protection, he says, I will grant you the protection. So Vibhishana came, even though he is the class of Rakshasa clan, he was still protected by Rama. He's an enemy of Rama, but yet Rama protected him because he did surrender to Rama. So that's one other pastime. Other pastime. You know have you heard of the name called Brahma Kapala? It's a place called Brahma Kapala. So the pastime is like this. Brahma is there. Brahma initially it was like that. He only have one face. Now we know Chaturmukha, 4 faces, but he only have one face it seems. So what happens? One day he felt a bit. Well, there are many episodes there, but the one that I heard is that, or I read is that he wanted to have some conjugal happiness, and then he created some from him only. He created somebody else called Satarupa. Satarupa. So she was created. Some say it is Saraswati that was created by Brahma. But Satarupa being so shy, she couldn't. She don't want to stand there in front of Brahma, and she started escaping in all the different directions. So Brahma, because he don't want to lose the glance of Satarupa being so beautiful, each and every direction she went, a face came out of Brahma. So she went to other direction, a face came there. So he wanted to make sure that she is monitored, or he knows where she is going. So like that, he got 4 different faces, and on top she started going up. So and he has an upper face, like in the face on the top as well. Now what happened? Lord Shiva thought that because she came from Brahma, that means that she is the daughter of Brahma. Like I am the son of Brahma. She's the daughter of Brahma, isn't it? So what should happen? This should be stopped. Brahma shouldn't have any kind of conjugal happiness or union with that lady, Satarupa. So what did he do? He went, and to protect her to escape, when Brahma started putting up his 5th head on top, Shiva went and plucked the head out. So that made Brahma, who used to have 5 faces, now has only 4 faces, Chaturmukha. So the top head is taken out. By whom? By Lord Shiva. Shiva is son of Lord Brahma. Now the skull that was taken out, or the face that was taken out, is not letting the hand of Lord Shiva. It was stuck with Lord Shiva, so Shiva's hand. How much ever he tried, he couldn't get rid of that Kapala. Kapala is skull of Lord Brahma. So he went and asked every devata to ask Agni, can you burn this skull? He tried, that didn't happen. So he tried in many ways, but that he couldn't get rid of the skull. So he went to the place called Brahma Kapala, where he asked Lord Vishnu to help. So what then happened is Lord Vishnu, because of it was sweating, the sweat from Lord Vishnu's chest, the drops from the Lord Vishnu's chest came and fell in the Kapala, in the skull. So that broke the skull. So then so now Shiva got rid of the pain or the problem of holding that Brahma Kapala or the Kapala of Brahma, the skull of Brahma. So that's how Vishnu helped Lord Shiva to get rid of that thing. Now what happened? So okay, this is there's nothing to be. There's no continuation, but I'll tell you that is the place where people go and offer Pitru Karyas, Pinda Pradhanam we say, to the Pitrus, to the forefathers. When they go to that place, they offer the thing in Brahmakapala. So Shiva was helped by Lord Vishnu there. Now let's come back to Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, we know Kamsa is there. Now Kamsa is the son of Ugrasena. What did he do? He jailed Ugrasena, dethroned him, and he became the king. Kamsa became the king. Now Ugrasena was not there. Ugrasena was not the king anymore. But Ugrasena is the father of Kamsa. What happened then? Krishna came, killed Kamsa, and then he can become king, isn't it? Because he killed the king, he can become the king. He didn't do that. He put Ugrasena as the king. He put back Ugrasena as the king. So the difficulty of Ugrasena is Kamsa, even though it's his son. So Kamsa was killed. Ugrasena was given the kingship again. So who did that? Krishna did that. So likewise, now let's talk about Ramana again. Right? In the case of Rama, we know. I'm not going to details of this pastime because we all know the pastime. Rama is there. Rama was about to coronate it the next day morning. Today evening, Dasharatha told to Rama that tomorrow you will be coronated. Everybody happy, all done and dusted. 5 o'clock. Dasharatha Maharaj said, "You go and take rest. Tomorrow morning you have to get up and all the stuff." So what happened? Then he started going. So Rama went, and then immediately next day morning that everything has changed because of Kaikeyi. So Kaikeyi said, "No, you cannot be the king," and all the things happened. Now Kaikeyi is the mother of Lord Rama. However, in this case, Rama got no chance. I mean, it's not about getting a chance. Mother asked Rama to leave to forest. So Dasharatha said, Kaikeyi asked her for a boon. You have to leave to forest. Now he happily went to the forest. He didn't say anything, a word against it. So he did a circumambulation to the paraphernalia that was prepared for the coronation, and then he offered respects to the paraphernalia and to the family, and then he left for the kingdom. So that is the case where Rama was sent into exile by a mother of Lord Rama. Now let's come back to the other pastimes in Bhagavatam only. The case of Prahlad Maharaj. We know the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, isn't it? So Prahlad Maharaj, he was put into so many troubles. We'll see in details of the Bhagavatam coming cantos how Prahlad Maharaj was put into deepest sorrows. So he was put into a big bunch of fire. He was thrown from a hilltop. He was poisoned. So only for one reason. His father said, "Stop saying the word Narayana and just say my name. Accept me as your king, not as a king. Accept me as your sole protector. It's not Narayana." But Prahlad Maharaj said, "No, you are my father. I have deepest love and respect towards you. But I cannot say that you are greater than Narayana, or I cannot accept you as my God. You are just my father, Hiranyakasipu. I am your son, Prahlada. That's the relation, that's all. Not anything more than that." So Prahlada Maharaj was put into so many difficulties by Hiranyakasipu. And finally, who saved Prahlada? Lord only saved him. So he came as a Narasimha and he saved Prahlad Maharaj. So we all know the past. I mean, I'm not going to details. We'll see later because it's just a bird view of what's happening. Now coming back to Mahabharata now. I mean, we are moving across. I'll tell you why we are jumping like this. Now, let's come back to the other pastimes of the Lord. In case of Mahabharata, where the game of dice or that was played, and we know that Yudhishthira, our Yamadharma Raja, sorry, Yes, Yudhishthira lost, Dharmaraja lost the kingdom, and as well as Draupadi. Draupadi is the wife of Dharmaraja. What happened then? She was dragged into the court where all the men, kings, were there, and she was about to be disrobed. Her sari was, we know the past time, so her sari was about to be disrobed. So she has a pain. She has gone through suffering there. So who helped her? Krishna only helped her, isn't it? Krishna protected her. So one important that we have to understand is Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, Arjuna, or Dharmaraja, they are not incapable people. They are very, very capable. They can kill everybody that is in the court on that day, in that hour only. But what happened? They was sitting there and watching, and they cannot do anything there because they're bound by that thing. But who helped them? Krishna helped her. Now let's come back to the childhood pastimes of the Lord. Now we know yesterday, the day before yesterday only, we talked about Indra and Govardhan Leela and that pastime. We touched upon that. So same thing again here again. So Nandagram people, or the people of Brindavan or Nandagram, what they thought is that we have to go and take the protection of Indra, who is the master of the rain, so that he will shower the rain. So what did Krishna says? My dear Lord, why, my dear Father, why we should worship Indra? Because it is Govardhan who is giving us the grass, food, fruits, vegetables, and everything for our cows. Shouldn't we go and worship Govardhan rather than Indra? So he convinced the villagers in Vrindavan. So they said, okay, let's go and worship Govardhan, the Govardhan Parvatam. So they started worshipping Govardhan, and that angered Indra. So that angered Indra, and what did he do? He started pouring down torrential rain. So Krishna was holding the hill on his left hand of left finger, and standing only on 1 feet, taking the help of only 1 feet, and he lifted entire Govardhan hill, and he gave protection to everybody in that village, Vrindavan, from Indra. So he saved them. So they had a problem with Indra, and they were all saved by Krishna only. Now I am going to reconcile what we have discussed until now. Let's touch upon the points again. So we talked about Sugriva and Vali episode. We talked about Vibhishana and Ravana episode. That is the problem between Vibhishana and Ravana. We talked about Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. We talked about the past between Ugrasena and Kamsa. We talked about Kaikeyi and Rama and Bharata, mother and children. We talked about Prahalada and Hiranyakasipu. We also talked about Draupadi and Pandavas. And we all talked about all the Brindavan, Gopas and Gopikas, the Advas, Gopabalas. So Gopas and Indra, right? So we talked about many, so many pastimes, like almost like 8 pastimes we talked about. Nearly, 8 pastimes we talked about. So now let's start reconciling why we talked about it. Okay. In case of Sugriva and Vali, the relationship is brother. Who saved them? Who saved Vali, Sugriva? Lord Rama. In case of Vibhishana and Ravana, what is the relationship? Sibling, brother. Who saved? Rama saved. Now, first of all, you have to understand the reason why we are talking here is, if you see Lord Brahma and Rudra, it is son and father. Ugrasena and Kamsa, it is son. I mean, Brahma and Rudra also, it is son who troubled Lord Brahma. In case of Kaikeyi and Rama, who troubled Rama and Bharata? It is the mother. In case of Prahalada and Hiranyakasipu, who created the problem to the son, Prahalada? It is the father. In case of Draupadi and Pandavas, who created the problem? It is husband. In case of Gopas and Gopika, the Brindavan, the people of the villages of Nandagram, who created the problem? The Devatas, Indra. So what we have to understand is, if we think in a relationship, when I gave you some time to think about it, if we are in a problem, if we thought, okay, I can go and speak to my brother, if brother has to protect you, we have evidences. Sugriva was not protected by Vali. Vibhishana was not protected by Ravana. So who saved them? Lord Narayana. Let's say, no, my son can save me. If that is the case, Kamsa should be saving Ugrasena, not putting them in the jail. But did that happen? No. In case of no, it's not about son. If Shiva is the son, should protect and take care of Lord Brahma, what did happen now? Son was against Lord Brahma, plucking out his head. So who helped Shiva to get rid of his papa or the skull? Lord Narayana only. In case of Kamsa and Ugrasena, it is son who created the problem. Who helped? Lord Krishna helped. Let's say no, mother is the personification of love. Mother should be taking care of you. Mother should be protecting you. She always wishes for the betterment of your life. If that is the case, doesn't she know? Kaikeyi doesn't know that Bharata will not like it, and Rama is as much as the child of herself as Bharata. If mother has to protect, why will Kaikeyi send Rama to forest? She should say no. When Mandara said so, she should have slapped Mandara and said, get out of the kingdom. But what did she do? She asked Rama to leave the kingdom. So if we think mother will protect, it's not mother. If we say no, father will definitely protect a child, because father is like that, is so protective. If that is the case, it should be that. I mean, when I say we do protect, the relation will protect. But I'm talking about definitely protection. Can you guarantee the protection? That's what we are talking about. If that is the case, if father can protect, Prahlada should be protected by Hiranyakasipu. Does it happen? Hiranyakasipu put Prahlada into so many troubles. That didn't happen. So who helped Prahlada? Narasimha. So in each and every instance until now, there was a problem. The person was saved from the problem, and he was put into good position. That's what we talked about in the previous sessions as well. So the problem that Sugriva is having is Vali. So the problem is eradicated, and now he was put into king of that Kishkinda. So the problem is eradicated, and he was put into safe zone. That's more important. So Ishta Prapanamu, Anishta Nivaranam. So these two are the important things. Ishta Prapanam, Anishta Nivaranam. Anishta Nivaranam is protecting him from the evil. Ishta Prapanam is putting him into the zone where he is happy. So that's what Rama did. Same case of Vibhishana and Ravana also. Vibhishana has a problem with Ravana. Ravana was killed. Vibhishana is put back into throne. Crowned as the king of that Lanka. In case of Ugrasena, Kamsa is the problem. So Kamsa was killed. Ugrasena was put back into as a king. In case of Prahlada Maharaj, Hiranyakasipu was killed. Prahlada was made as a king. So there is no problem with that. Now Draupadi case also same thing. So Draupadi and husband. If you say no, my husband will definitely save me. If that is the case, that is a guaranteed case. Draupadi should be saved by the five. She got 5 husbands. We know that. She should be saved. Was she saved? Who saved her? It's Lord Sri Krishna saved her. Is it not? So husband cannot be guaranteed. It can be ruled out. Now if you say, no, devatas that I worship will save. I worship so many devatas. If I worship them, so they will save me. If that is the case, Nandagram people, until Krishna was that age and started speaking to Nandagram people, they are worshipping Indra. Annually, every year they worship Indra to give them rains. Indra should have certain kind of decency to stop doing not to do that. Every year they are doing it. So what does it mean? Indra, I mean, this is what we have to understand. 1 year for us is 1 day for devatas in terms of time scales. So for us it is 1 year. For them, it is every day. So every day, Indra was being fed by the people of Nandagram. So what does he do? What does he did? He started getting angry on these people because there is no food or yajna for offerings for that year on that day. You see, so that is the, if Devatas has to protect you, then we should be protected. All the Nandagram people should be protected. So who protected them? It's Lord Sri Krishna who protected them. So this is what we have to understand. So the reason we took up this subject is that the title of the book is called Prapanna Paritranam. Prapanna Paritranam. This book was written by one of the acharyas in the parampara. He is called as Pillai Lokacharya. So the meaning of Prapanna Paritranam means savior of the surrendered. One who surrenders, the person who saves is Lord Srihari only. So two important that we have to remember, that we have to understand. We should never ever think that I can we can protect ourselves. As a mumukshu, these are the qualities. We should never be out of the protection zone of the Lord. Lord will always protect us. The moment we think that we can protect ourselves, then Lord will say, okay, go as per your karma. I will not interfere into your karma. Secondly, the moment we think that I have to attain certain kind of qualification so that he will definitely protect me, there is no definitive in case of Lord. It is always his wish. If he wants to protect, he will protect. You cannot demand. That's second one. Third important thing, the moment we say, I will go and seek the help of some other devata or some other personality who is more powerful than me, it doesn't have to be devata, my dear friends. It doesn't have to be devata. That's what is more important. The moment we think that somebody else can save, if I think, Bill Gates can save me, that's it. That's enough. God, you are out of protection zone of God. It's up to you now, you and Bill Gates. So the moment we think somebody else can save me, it doesn't have to be Indra, Shiva, Brahma, Rudra, Kali, whatever. It doesn't have to be them. It can be easily be my boss can save me. That's also enough. You will be out of the protection zone of the God. So we have to inculcate the qualities of surrenderance. So what are the qualities of surrenderance? First of all, we have to say, my dear Lord, I am unfit or incapable of doing or performing Saranagati or performing any kind of yajna, yaga or dharma. I am unfit. I am incapable also. So I am only surrendering unto you. My dear Lord, please take care of me. That's first quality. Akinchanatvam. Second one, Ananya Gatitvam. My dear Lord, I don't have anybody else to go. You are the only one I know. So I offer my complete surrenderance unto you. Now you help me. You take care of me. That is called complete Saranagati. When I say complete Saranagati, these are two things. There is one more thing that we can touch upon. So the third quality or the third one is called Ananya Bhogyatvam. Ananya Bhogyatvam means I should be enjoyed by Lord only, Lord alone and nobody else. I am only for the Lord pleasure. If Lord Sriman Narayana is happy with me, that is fulfilling to me. My acts or my life or my existence shouldn't give any kind of happiness to anybody else except Lord Sri Hari. That is how it should be. So these are three qualities: Ananyagatitvam or Aranya Saranyatvam, which means that complete surrender unto you alone, unto the Lord alone. Akinchanatvam, where we say we are incapable of protecting ourselves, and Ananya Bhogyatvam, which means that I am completely for the pleasure of Lord alone and nobody else. So these three qualities you can see that in the case of Mother Sita when she came as in the Ramayana episodes, where she says to Hanuma, Hanuma, I don't take the help of anybody else. Even though Hanuma said, Mother, please come with me, I'll take you now. You'll be out of this misery. She said, no. Rama should come. I'll take only the help of Rama alone. That is called Ananya Saranatvam. There is nobody else, only you that should protect. Akinchanatvam. Where what does Akinchanatvam means? That we discussed. The place where we say or the quality where we say I'm incapable. Mother Sita can burn Ravana just by the sight of her, but she says I am incapable. I don't want to say I can do. The moment you say you are not in the protection zone of Lord, so she never said that. And the third quality is I should be completely enjoyed. I am only for my Lord Sri Rama. When Ravana said, "Why don't you come with me and be my queen?" she said, "No, I am the property of Lord Sri Rama, and I will be the property of Lord Sri Rama. So I am only for Lord Sri Rama." So that's what she said. So the three qualities of a complete surrendered soul will be like this. So we, as an aspirants of Mumukshu or Moksham, being Mumukshu or aspirants of Moksham, we should inculcate these qualities. So never ever think of getting the help from anybody else except Lord. Okay? So please try to remember this, try to understand this, and try to inculcate these qualities within yourself. Never ever think about it that I can go and do it myself, I can go into spiritual path myself. It will never happen. You can know, I mean, he will let you leave. He will ask you to be as you want, because that is the reason why you are here. You want to have the free will, so you can have the free will and you can be whatever you want. But you will be the out of protection zone of the Lord. As a Mumukshu, we should never be out of the protection zone of the Lord, because there is nobody else who is completely capable of handling our case except Him. We ourselves only cannot handle our case. Such an wonderful people we are. So why should we even struggle or try? We have tried for these many years. What happened? Nothing happened. We are still here. So this life, let's do one thing. Let's give it a try, because we have been going through these kind of life and deaths for so many times. So many times. Many Brahmas have also gone by. I know, I used to think those many Brahmas have gone by, those many souls also have gone by. I am still here. Sometimes I get the funny thing I get is maybe everybody will go. I will still be here only. Everybody will become a Brahma and they'll be as Brahma and then they'll go to Moksham, but I will still be here if I don't think about Lord. So let's do one thing for this life. Very simple thing. We will try this one. If it works out, I know it will work out, guaranteed, because the Veda says that. So let's do this. Let's change our style. We will take a pledge that, my dear Lord, I am completely surrendering unto you. I will never ever take the help of anyone except you. Now I am the property of yours. I am doing my complete surrenderance unto you. Now let's see what will happen in this life. Let's be like that. Let's try to be like that, at least. With the help of mercy of Acharya, devotees, and God Himself, let's try to be like that. Or we'll ask God, Lord Narayana, that, my dear Lord, please make me to be like that. There is no, the moment we say I will try, what does that mean? I wanted to try. I'm believing in my abilities to try. We'll tell to Lord, I am incapable. So please put me into that position where I can be like that. So let's take that place. Let's give it a chance. No, people, there are acharyas who laid their life in giving us this knowledge out of their mercy. Now let's follow it. Just one this lifetime. If it doesn't work in this lifetime, let's not do it in the next lifetime. But I can guarantee you, it will work in this lifetime. So yes. So the conclusion of the class is very simple. Lord Sriman Narayana is the only protector for all of us. The guaranteed protector. No, not only this, there are many instances that we'll see. In case of Parikshit Maharaj also, he was in the womb of his mother Uttara. So what happened? Nobody was able to save, because it's not a weapon outside. Nobody was able to save. Who saved? Krishna saved. So after seeing all this, we should get into understanding that there is no question of anybody saving us in any kind of difficulty. I am telling you, except the Lord, except Lord Sri Hari. So please inculcate the quality of that. Like I said, let's try in this lifetime what it is like. Taste it. Not get the taste of it. I'm not saying that you don't have the taste of it. Let's get more taste of it. Let's drink the nectar, the happiness. The moment you associate with the qualities of God or the kalyan divine qualities of the God, that's when we get the taste of God. So I request you and I suggest you, I also push you and force you to be in that path of devotion and try to be in that God consciousness all the time. We have tried so many times, so many things in life, in lives. Let's stop it. Let's get into the path. Now we know. Let's get into the path of devotion and let's be that. So I'm happy. I'm very very happy. Like I said in the starting of the class, I'm very happy that you have this time. It's very very sunny outside. You can happily go out, spend some time outside, eating a pizza, drinking whatever. Not drinking that drinking. Talking about having a can of Pepsi or Coke, whatever you would drink. So some sugary drinks. So you can have that. Go for a walk. You can have that. But still, you came here to listen Bhagavatam, to discuss Bhagavatam. That is more important. That is what God is already taking care of you. You have to realize that God is taking care of me. And my dear Lord, we pray, please put us in the path of devotion and try to take us back to you. That is what we have to pray for. So I hope you understood the class. And like I said, this book was written by Pillai Lokacharya. He is one of the greatest acharyas that we have in the Sampradaya. This book is called Prapanna Paritranam, the Savior of the Surrendered. So I hope that you enjoyed the class. You also understood the stories, different stories that we discussed. So any questions, please ask. We will take a few questions now. I felt that this is a good time for us to discuss about the glories of the Lord, because until now we're talking about the conversation with Soka Maharshi and our Parikshit Maharaj. Like I said, there are two reasons. First reason is the primary reason is that I was unable to prepare because of the workload for the session. Like I said, it's not 1 or 2 pages now. It's like 15-20 pages of Bhagavatam that we have to read for finishing the class. So, and like I said, second reason is this, that I want to give it a break and talk about God. I always had this in mind, but today it materialized because of that. So I hope you liked the class. So any questions, please ask. Alekia, any questions, Alekia? Hello?
Prabhuji?
Any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, come on, ask.
Actually, Rama solves everyone's problem. But why he left the Sita even she's pregnant?
Oh,
Let's
very, very good question.
but
Okay. Ah,
I think both are same related. Rama Avataram is this is how human life, these are the human rights like that. Why Sita also have many struggles? Is there any reason or what's the reason for that?
well, two questions, no? First question is why Sita has been left to the forest.
Yes,
Second question is why Sita has to face so many struggles.
yes, sir.
Wonderful. Okay, let's talk on these two questions. Wonderful questions. Very good observations. Definitely. So let's take the second question first. Why Sita has to face so many struggles? Like in the previous classes, I was talking about one of the acharyas called Parasara Bhattar. Parasara Bhattar wrote a book or like a sloka. In there, he said, my dear Mother Lakshmi, you come as Rukmini. We like it because you happily enjoyed in the companion of Sri Krishna. You are the queen of Dwaraka. So we are able to happily wanted to see you like that. Mother, please don't come as Sita at all again. You came as Sita for us, for us who are completely in this Papa, in the Matyaloka where Papa is there. You came because of us, because we asked you to come, the souls. Because if you see the why Rama has to come, uh, all the people went to Brahma, and Brahma also went to Vishnu, and they said, "You have to come," because Ravana is becoming so arrogant. Nobody is able to stop him. He was so powerful. You have to come and kill him, fight with him and kill him. Because of the request of us, you came and you went through lots and lots of struggles. We were not able to see the struggles. not able to bear that, understand that you went through the struggles. So my dear mother Lakshmi, please never ever come in that form. So Alekya, your observation of Mother Lakshmi, Mother Sita going through hardships is definitely valid. Acharyas also said that you came and you went through so many struggles. Now let's see why she has to go through struggles. Okay, when when Rama is about to leave to forest, Mother Sita said, "I also will want to come." Rama said, "You are a very soft-spoken lady. You are having a very tender skin. You are a queen, and you always were in the palace. Now I am going to a place where there won't be a proper bed. There won't be a proper atmosphere. You cannot have any kind of paraphernalia with you. So if you come with me, there will be struggles in there. It's only 14 years. Why don't you stay in the palace? And I'll just go and I'll come. And then we can lead our happy life here. What's the point of you coming and going through a lot of struggles?" Then you know what she said? Mother Sita said, "For me, if I stay with you, it is heaven. For me, if I don't stay with you, it is hell." So yes, she has gone through a lot of struggles by going to the forest. And then eventually she has to stay with Ravana for 1 year. Yeah, 1 year she has to stay to get rid of that pain of going back to Lord Sri Rama. And then Lord Rama said, "No, no, 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 no. You don't. I know. I understand that you want to come with me, but I don't want you to come with me. Please stay back in Ayodhya." She said. She pulled him and said, "You are not understanding the purpose of your descent. The sole reason of your descent you are not able to understand. If it is not me, then you can never achieve why you came here." Okay. So she told Rama that you came to kill Ravana. Well, she didn't tell that. She said the purpose of you coming here will not be fulfilled if you don't take me along with you. Okay. So she has to go to Ravana. No, again, I'm telling you, I'm just trying to let you know. Some people say that is Maya Sita that went and sat with Lanka. Mother Sita cannot be touched. Mother Sita was taken by God of fire. She was staying there. That is all wrong. Mother Sita was personally taken by Ravana. So Mother Sita went through lot of struggles. She was touched by Ravana. She was dragged by her hair, locks of hair, and she was taken, and she was made to sit on the thigh of Ravana when she was traveling. So such a horrible thing was happened to Mother Sita when she was taken. She has gone through struggles. Now let us understand this. So one thing is clarified. She has gone through struggles, right? Definitely have gone through struggles. Let's understand this. Mother Sita wanted to save us. So she went through the struggles. You know, in Telugu also, we don't say Rukminamma. Lakshmamma we don't say. We say Sitamma. Because Sita will be seen as mother. The reason is, let's say Ammu, Srinika, or we have our kids with us. They will put you through a lot of hardships on a daily basis because when they are growing or whatever. Yet you still have love towards them. You toil so hard to take care of them. You give them a bath, you feed them, you cook for them. You do whatever is necessary. See, even now when Ammu is making a lot of noise, Mataji was able to calm her down and listen to the class. But yet you will not scold them, isn't it? Do we? We don't scold them. We shout at them, but still we love them. So is the case of Mother Sita. She loves us. She has gone through struggles only because to save us from the bad people like Ravana. That is how it has happened. So she has gone through struggles because to save humankind, to save this Loka. That is why Mother Lakshmi is called as Sitamma, the personification of love. Does it mean that she only loves people, not the Rakshasas? No. You have to see the episodes of Mother Sita talking with Trijata and Hanuma when Hanuma come to uh, the Lanka. The pastime, I'll tell you very fast what the pastime is. So the pastime is Hanuma came and Hanuma said, Mother, Now the war is about to finish or ended. Just to give me one chance, I will kill everybody here. All the whom? All the Rakshasa ladies. They are safeguarding Mother Sita. You know what they said to Mother Sita one day when Ravana said, "I'm only giving you 1 month. If you don't change your mind, I'm going to eat you." That's what he said. I'm going to eat you. So they said, okay. One lady said, I will eat your eyes. Other Rakshasi said, I'm going to eat your heart. You know, imagine that somebody saying you in front of you, saying that I'm going to eat you, putting you through torments of hell. Now, Hanuma came. Hanuma said, Mother, is just to give me one chance before we go. I'm going to beat them to pulp and kill them all. And then you know what Mother Sita said? Hanuma, have you gone mad? Why are you talking like this? What they done? They just followed the orders of their master, like you followed the orders of your master, Lord Rama. You came here and trying to protect me. Same as they are doing. If the servants follow the master's will, what should happen? They should be promoted. They should be given some honor. But what are you saying? You're going to say you are going to kill them. How bad it is. So that is the mercy of mother. So she stopped Hanuman in killing them. So mother, first of all, I understand Mother Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the mother of every creature, every soul. God has some bias into almost saying that these are good people, these are bad people, like that. Mother doesn't have anything like that. You see, that's what the qualities of mother is. So mother says, everybody is my santana. My santana is like my progeny only. They are mine. They are my kids. They are my children. So she has love towards everybody. So she never showed any kind of hatred to anybody. Mother Sita. So Mother Sita came and went through struggles for us. If my mother has gone through struggles, of course my mother has gone through struggles. Right from the giving birth to upbringing to this point, she has gone through a lot of struggle, emotionally, physically, so much. So for that regard, what should I do? I will love her more. Same is the case with Mother Sita. She see us as her child or as her children. So she came and helped us to be in that path of happiness. So she came, she went through struggles, corrected some things, and then this has happened. Now, I hope I answered the second question. So let's go back to the first question. Why did Rama made Sita to go to the forest? Very, very, very famous question. Everybody asks this question. Whenever we see acharyas talking about it, they say, why did Mother Sita went to forest? Why did Rama has to let her go? Even though we tell the answer, they will never be satisfied. The reason I'm laughing is, I told the answer to my wife 100 times, yet she is not satisfied. My Acharya also said the answer, she is not satisfied. I am sure that she will be laughing now. So even if I tell the answer now, women will never be satisfied. I am guaranteed on that. But I will tell you anyway. So what happened there? So there are certain kind of dharma that a person has to follow. Duties, dharma. Does Rama love Sita or not is the question here. First of all, you understand that. Okay. Does Rama love Sita or not? Let's see. If Sita, Mother Sita, is just seen as wife of Rama by Rama, not we are just seeing as wife of Rama only. If Rama thinks that she is just my wife, in those days, he can marry any number of wives. Or not wives, and he can marry any number of women and see them as the wife. Right? Let's go back to his father. How many wives Dasharatha Maharaj had? We say 3. Right? What we know is 3. Generally speaking, we say, yeah, Kausalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi. 3 people, 3 queens. No. He has 353 queens. Dasharatha Maharaj. Ardha Sapta Saha. The sloka says Ardha Sapta Saha. Sapta means 7. Ardha Sapta Saha means 100. Half of 700. 350. Besides these 3 queens. So 3 queens are the main prominent queens. Besides them, he has 350 other queens. Rama can also marry those many number of women and say, these are all my queens, and let Sita to her fate. So the question is ruled out. Does Rama love Sita or not? Of course, yes. He has to go through all the way. He doesn't have a clue. There is he doesn't have a clue where Mother Sita is. He went to each and every forest. He went to different. You have to see the episodes of Ramayana. He went and spoke to the water. He went and spoke to flowers. He went and spoke to trees, asking, "Do you know where Sita is?" Of that pain, he cried a lot. So he went and took the help of monkeys, vanaras. He just making one vanara to sit straight is a difficult job. He has to maintain some crores of army of vanara who are powerful and fragile in their mindset. He has to keep them calm and go for a war. So he has to go for a war and win his wife back. So he got his wife back, right? So definitely he loves Mother Sita. Now, why did he leave her to go? Right? Now, let's come back to the point. He is the king. He has certain number of duties to perform. Out of the duty, because he being the king or Chakravarti at that time, he has to discharge the duty of being a king. Because nowadays politicians are useless. First of all, that we have to understand. If somebody says something, they'll just say, it's okay, I don't care, and they'll just rub their shirt off as if there is some dirt on them, and then they'll carry on with their life. But those days, it's not like that. If a statement is made, they try to correct it. They try to put it back or give it back and saying that this is not the case, or they try to correct themselves, or they try to correct them, or the people who accused. So any kind of accusation is seen as the biggest remark on their rule. Now, don't we expect a king to be like that without having any remark or anything like that? Don't we expect them? Don't we expect a king should be somebody aloof of his family and rule the kingdom? Now, what are the qualities of Lord Rama? Lord Rama or Valmiki says, Lord Rama is a person who's rejoice when something happened in his kingdom in one family. Let's say in one family they're having a small celebration, birthday celebration, whatever celebration. Rama feels happy, it seems. Somewhere in the kingdom, if there is small trouble that's bothering them, Rama feels sad, it seems. That is how Rama is. Rama is seen as a person of their family. Rama has seen everybody in the kingdom as his family. Now, because there is an acquisition that he always there is Mother Sita is not pure. He got him back, even though fire Agni testified, because nobody has seen except Lakshmana and Rama and the monkey and the Vanara. Nobody has seen that kind of test when she herself said, I want to go into fire and test myself. Not even testing. There's no question about testing. She wanted to kill herself. But yet, Agni said, she's the purest. I can't even touch her to burn her. The reason why she went there, nobody knows now, except Rama and Lakshmana, because nobody else was there. That's what happened with in case of Mother Sita. So what he did was, he put his kingdom first. He don't want to get any kind of wrong accusations to the dynasty of Ikshvaku. So he said, okay, you need to go to forest now. So he didn't let her to go into the forest and was left behind. He was sent to the ashram of a Muni to give birth to his kids. So the Muni is Valmiki. So Mother Sita was sent to Valmiki Rishi, Valmiki Maharshi's ashram to give birth. Now, why only Valmiki Maharshi? That's a question, isn't it? That we can think about. Why only Valmiki Maharshi? The reason is, before becoming Valmiki Maharshi, he was just a normal hunter. We know the story, the hunter. And then Ratnakara. So, Valmiki, because of mud, the meaning of Valmiki or Valmikam means because of the mud that has, because when he's doing tapasya, Rama tapasya, because of all the mud around him, all the ant hills around him, he was seen as a Valmikam. Valmiki like an ant hill on him. So he was given a name called Valmiki. So it's like he is the he came from mud, isn't it? He came from earth. What about Mother Sita? Where did she come from? Earth only, no? So what does Valmiki Maharshi becomes then? Like a brother to Mother Sita, isn't it? So when a woman giving birth, where will she go? Won't she go to parents' house? In this case also, Mother Sita was sent to parents' house only, to Valmiki Maharshi's ashram. To of course, he's like a brother. So he was asked. Lakshmana was said, leave Mother Sita in Valmiki ashram. So she was sent to Valmiki ashram. There she went. Now the pain of Mother Sita going there is agreed that because Lord Rama want to show how a king rules. That is how he has to. That is how he has to do that. The reason he has done is for that reason, to send Mother Sita. Did you understand, Alegya? Did I answer the question?
Prabhuji.
Not satisfied, isn't it?
Completely, but okay.
Yes, that is normal. Like how much ever times we tell that is the case, nobody will like it. Nobody will understand it. You know, there was an episode. One of the best speakers on Ramayana, besides my Acharya, is one of in Telugu is Chaganti Koteswara. Very famous speaker, very good devotee. He talks about Ramayana and many other devotional stories. Whenever he touched this concept, so he gives a discourse on Ramayana on the episode of when Mother Sita was sent to forest. He tells people the reason why she has been sent. Everything settles down. Okay, fine. After 8:30, 6:30 to 8:30 is generally the class, it seems. After 8:30, he goes to home by 9 o'clock. From 9 to 10:30, people will be calling him, it seems. How can Mother Sita go? How can Rama let Mother Sita to go to forest? He said, I always told, no, that shouldn't happen. Why did they leave? How dare Rama to leave Mother Sita to forest? How can he do that? What kind of man he is? You know, he always tells in the discourses, please don't call me tonight. This is what happened. I am just telling you what has happened. This is what the reason behind it. So please don't get emotional and keep calling me and don't scold me for that. I am not telling something of my own. I am telling what it is there. So that is what he has gone through, or what Chaganti Koteswara has gone through. So this is very difficult to understand because we have not seen people who put kingdom, or we have not seen kings in our time who has put nation first and family next. We have always seen putting family first and nation next. We always seen my brother has to earn money, my daughter has to earn money, my son has to earn money, he has to acquire this much of land, he has to acquire this much of cars, bungalows, and all that money and all. We have never seen people who's putting the nation first. The credibility and acceptance of one person is not there in these ages. But those were the days where Rama has shown this is how a king should rule, and that's how he showed. Mother Sita was sent to his her maternal place. That is the reason.
I just want to talk about
No,
this.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Sita. Don't need to talk.
No, I just wanted to give a good example because I was not satisfied till the recent years, but now I mean maybe because of listening and seeing the examples and listening from different people, maybe now I'm satisfied. I just wanted to give an example of Modi ji.
Hmm.
He was married, but he left his wife. He was more into like he was doing everything for the country. So if Modi was married and just looking at his family life, I don't know what position India would be in now. So I thought maybe this is the best example. If Rama would have not sent Sita to forest, they would have said, what king is he? He's putting his family first, not the country. So I think that's the reason, I mean, for my understanding.
Good. Nicely put. Well, definitely, because like I said, people putting nation first is very low now. We have not seen people who putting the nation first, except recent times. Modi has put nation first most of the times. So definitely that is how politicians should be, but they are not. So nevertheless, that's how we should be, at least understanding things. So any other questions? Raj, any questions? Aleki, any questions? Hello?
No, Prabhuji.
No. Okay.
Good explanation actually. Like, um, no, you have highlighted a lot of Ramayana stories, and it's good to listen as well.
Mm, definitely.
Yeah.
Pastors of Rama are always beautiful. It's a bliss to talk about or listen about Rama.
No, like, but all these things, like, no, Rama, he is like an avatar, so he knows what is going to happen in the future, isn't it? So he
Okay.
could have stopped Sita from getting suffering all, like, no, going through all these pain.
Correct. Correct. Well, that is what God is for, isn't it? He take all the pain to make sure that we are in the safe zone and we are in a happy zone.
So is it some karma which
Mm.
Sita has acquired and she has to go through all of it?
No.
Because whenever we go through something, we say like, "Oh, it's karma."
Yes. But
So
it's not karma of Mother Sita because she is not from this world or she's not a soul like us to get into this trouble. It's out of the pure mercy of Mother Sita, of Mother Lakshmi. She has come down as Sita and has gone through this trouble. There is nothing like karma attached to Mother Sita or Lord Rama. It's pure love and concern for the jivas. She has come
mm, okay.
like that. Yeah. That is the thing. God will come and he will stay in the womb of a mother for 10 months and come out. Mother is not like that. She wanted to have the concern straight away. So she don't want to take time to be in the womb and to come out. She just come and be available readily. Because she don't want to waste time in safeguarding us,
Mm,
in protecting us. But God takes his time. He says, oh, 10 months I will be there. Okay, I will be there 10 months. 9 months, okay, I will be there. Rama stayed for 12 months. It's not 10 months or 9 months. He stayed for 10, 12 months. Generally, if the problem in the society is like this. If the baby is in the mother of the womb for 7 months and the baby comes out because of many reasons, people will say, oh, premature baby, you didn't do anything about it. You're not taking care of it. All that nonsense. If they say the baby stays for, let's say, 40 weeks. They say, oh, not yet come, 40 weeks, 40 weeks, not yet come, not yet come. Why are you worried about it? The baby want to come, it will come. Why are people worried about it? Now, he stayed for 12 months. Now, imagine how much Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi has to go through for 12 months. After the remaining, the 10 months, the 2 months, people should be like, no, nothing has happened, nothing has happened. Maybe their stomachs have started becoming more because of gossiping about mother Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. So,
mm,
nothing with Mother Sita. She has Lakshmi. She has come only to safeguard us, to save us. What's the purpose of she should come? She doesn't have to come because the purpose has to be fulfilled. The one of the bad qualities of Ravana is lust. So she has to take a birth. That's the reason she said to Rama, if I don't come, you will never fulfill the reason, the purpose of your life, of this avatar.
mm,
So she didn't say avatar, she said purpose of the life. If I don't come. Now, Lord Rama, like you said, Lord Rama can ask her to stop there. But the thing is, the thing that you have to understand is, Lord Rama said many times in Ramayana that he is not God. He is just a human. Because we have to see him as human. What a human can achieve. The moment you see him as God, we'll still say, because it's God, he did like that. But Lord Rama only said 100 at least 3 to 4 different times in Ramayana that I am not God. Brahma said, you are Narayana. He said, no, I am not. I am Dasaratha Maharaj's son. I am Dasarathi. My name is Lord Rama. I am not God. Because he don't want anybody to see him as God. He want everybody to understand and replicate his life. The purpose of human life. How do we lead the human life? So so the Acharya says, we have to try to live like Rama. We have to worship Krishna. What's happening now? We are trying to be like Krishna and worshipping Rama. That's the problem. So we should not do that. We have to be like Rama and worship Krishna, not the other way around. So people say
He was there.
they go to jail and say Krishna also go to jail. Krishna also did lifted Govardhan. You also lift Govardhan. You cannot even lift the stone in front of your house. So we cannot imitate Krishna, but we have to imitate Rama, the life of Rama. So today is so hot. I'm not even unable to stop drinking water.
Yeah, the weather is so okay. Yesterday as well.
Yes. From three days it is very hot. Anyway, any questions, Raj? Besides this,
Yeah, that's it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
good. Mataji, any questions, Mataji?
Prabhuji, today I don't have any questions.
Questions? I'm very surprised, Mataji, that you don't have any questions today because of after I told you talking about women also you don't have any questions. Good.
It's not only you. I think everyone will be surprised. Like Mataji doesn't have any question today
Nice.
because of heat wave. I think.
What did you say, Raj?
Because of heat wave. That's why there is a lot of heat wave. I think.
Yes, maybe yes. Excellent. So no questions, no? Then I'll do the Mangal Sloka. Then we can leave. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिमहीसाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः सोमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. So thank you all. We will meet again in the next session.